Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Good morning, community. It is Wednesday, November 4th, here on the feed, doing a solo stint this morning. Contrary to what you may believe, Mike is not home crying over the election. He has actually had a prior commitment, but he'll be back next week. So this week we have Lara Scherbaum and Deb Wickus from Greater Falls Connections. We're very excited to learn all of the things that Greater Falls Connections has been doing because they have been extremely busy during this whole COVID time. Let me first tell you a couple of quick local updates. The Bells Falls Opera House has a movie coming up on November 14th and 15th. It's sponsored by Greater Falls Insurance, and it's the movie 42. So they'll be showing it Saturday at 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. and Sunday at 5 p.m. And really good news for everybody that's all about Christmas or starting to think about Christmas. The Bells Falls Opera House is pleased to announce that White Christmas is going to be back this year. I know there was a time when they couldn't get White Christmas. White Christmas is back. It's going to be sponsored by the Watson family and Santa's Land, and we'll keep you updated as to exactly what date they're going to show that. But without further ado, because I know that Deb and Laura have a lot to talk about today and a lot to update you about, we're going to start with Laura. Welcome, Laura.
Hi. Hi, Marty. Good morning. And congrats on your first solo show.
I know, it's very weird.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to look over at Mike and he's not there.
Yeah, right. Well, we're glad we could be here this morning, and thanks for having us. My name is Laura. I work with Greater Falls Connections. We're the local coalition group of community members who work to support youth and families, and specifically reduce the impacts of youth substance abuse in our communities. And a lot of what we do is connecting the community and creating social supports so that we all can have big dreams for our community, and most especially families and youth that are most impacted by substance abuse. So I have the pleasure of working with my partner, Deb Wickus, and many community members who really love this community. So we've been really busy since COVID hit. As you know, this time has been especially hard mentally, socially, maintaining those connections that really make our lives meaningful. So we've been doing a lot of work to support connections in the community and to ensure that there are supports for youth and families during this time. So we were one of the founding organizations of Reckian Help and Helpers. So that got started almost immediately after COVID hit, and that group has supported many people to get resources like help with grocery shopping and dog food, cat food, anything that folks need who are most impacted by COVID. We've done through COVID-19, through Reckian Help and Helpers and the community members that have stepped up for that. And now we are supporting the Everyone Eats program, which is funded through the Federal CARES Act. And that is coordinated with several community organizations. And we are able to distribute 500 meals a week, at least, per week since September. So that's been pretty amazing. Like I said, we're going strong. We are normally, our offices are at Parks Place, and we still do have office hours there, but we're mostly at home, as many folks are, and we feel very lucky that we're able to work remotely and still stay connected. We still have, we have new funding that's come through regionally through the health department. So we feel in a strong position to continue to support the community and to continue to create connections for the community.
Laura, could you give a little shout out to the restaurants that are participating in the Everyone Eats, just so everyone knows
Yes, and with apologies if I miss any, and maybe Deb can help me. So, Jamaican Jewels Catering has been phenomenal in providing meals. And Julianne Perkins, she was the first restaurant to get on board. Wonder Bar is also part of that, as well as the Grafton Market. And is that it? Am I missing any?
MKTs, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
MKT Grafton. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Nice. Good. I just want to give
Yeah,
a little plug.
and that program, the restaurants are supported by the funding gives them, $10 per meal and for the meals, and they have to demonstrate that they're using local products. At least 10% of their receipts need to be from local farms. So it's a 3-tiered approach. People get fed with amazing food. Local restaurants are supported. They get income, and local farms are supported as well. So it's a really amazing program.
Yeah. So Deb, tell us how your families are doing. How are your families impacted that you deal with?
Oh, sure. Hello, everyone. Deb Wittges, Greater Falls Connections. Well, as you all would expect, all families have been really stressed out. And once COVID hit, I'd have to say, our organization knew that we would need to really step up and support, enriching our collaborations and our partnerships. And because when youth went into virtual schooling, it was really hard. So we worked very closely with the WNASU to help identify gaps and barriers around internet, also with food as well. We really responded to meet the needs. And we also, we started meeting with our kids right away. We met every single day, Monday through Friday, for an hour, just to be there to support them. We were helping them with graduation projects, homework, and we played a lot. Mm-hmm. That's with Friends for Change, which is the youth group that is, I get to be a part of with my co-dreamers, Haley Gallandat Cochran and Megan Lichardi. And we also reached out to their parents and other families in the community, did lots of check-ins to see how can we help, what do you need, who can we connect you with. And it meant so much to all these families that, instead of slowing down, we, sped up. And it's just been great to see how this whole community has pulled together. We also have been consistently running our family addiction and recovery group, FAR. We did lots of social distancing meetings during the summer, and we're now back on Zoom because it's getting too cold to be outside. Okay. And we have had a little bit of an uptick in COVID cases in Vermont. So that group is just amazing. Michael Johnson from Turning Point created the model, and the way that we facilitate it, I get to facilitate it with a recovery coach, J.R. Lang. And this group is a safe place for families who've been impacted by addiction. It's for people who are struggling with addiction or who are early recovery. And there's this beautiful sharing of, the burden, mm-hmm. absolutely, of what it's like when you love someone, and also sharing wisdom, experience, so we can actually learn from each other, people mm-hmm. in recovery and people who've been able to, figure out how to support a loved one in a healthy and safe way as they recover from their substance use.
So Deb,
that's
I just
on Tuesday nights at 6.
Yeah, I was just gonna interject real quickly. So if somebody has never been to a FAR meeting, and how would they just show up, or how do they get this? Because it's a Zoom link now, correct? How would that work?
Yeah, I actually, it didn't work last night. I hate to say this, I had some problems with my internet, but I usually put it out every Tuesday, the link. So, yeah, and we get referrals all the time. You can call. I've gotten several folks who just, we have a Google number now that I've been using. Laura has a Google number as well. But yeah, folks are calling and I can text you the number if you want to remain private, because there is still a lot of stigma and shame associated with having a loved one struggling with substance use. Private message us. The group is really safe, kind, compassionate, and we're really there for each other.
Nice.
It's such an honor, and it's a 2-generation approach. We have youth who meet separately at the same time, so they can support each other in navigating the healing from substance use if they have a loved one in their family. And finally, going back to FFC, I just wanted to mention that we met throughout the whole summer and had an incredible time exploring the landscape, the rivers, hiking. We had our masks on, we socially distanced, and we have, up until this week, been meeting every single week since, I think we started back up in June. We've had 4 interns that are working this summer, working on amazing projects, from LGBTQ plus film series to outdoor adventure club. Yeah, it's been a great time for us.
What are you finding, since you deal so closely with the families and you've been kind of the go-to person for folks in the community? I know as far as Rockingham Help and Helpers, you were like the go-to person that checked in on a lot of people. What are you finding is still that people are still having need for?
Well, I would have to say food, obviously. I've also heard, I know there are a lot of people in our community who've lost their jobs, who are still collecting unemployment, and that, recently went down. I know one thing we want to do is we want to collect some donations, monetary donations, so we can make sure all the kids, at least in our group, and whoever else needs them, has winter gear that they want to wear. We're going to take kids shopping so they can choose, what they wear for the winter. I know last year we had kids showing up in Crocs because the families, did not have the resources to buy boots. And we want to do it with dignity. I personally, I grew up wearing a lot of donations that folks, gave to us. There were 6 kids, and to be quite honest, I got bullied and picked on because of wearing, clothes that I never got to choose. And so we are, we're going to start a monetary drive for coats and boots and hats and mittens.
That's a great. How could people help? Can they, have you got a link up yet for?
To be quite honest, I'm a little bit
I'm sorry,
behind on that project.
Okay.
But I will get it, up and running before the week is over.
Okay.
And I know there are some local businesses that have already said, yes, we'd love to help collect donations. So, So yes, before the week is out, it'll be on our Facebook page. We'll send out a MailChimp, and we'll be asking partners to promote it as well. There's going to be $25, $75, and $125 donations. So for $125, you can give like the whole thing: snow pants, coats, mittens, hats, boots. And if 25, you might be able to get some mittens and boots. Maybe not. But anyhow, so that's kind of how we're going to do it. You can sponsor an entire, youth. And we are focusing on tweens and teens because typically they age out of most of the other programs that are there. There is a program here in Southern Vermont that gets coats and snow pants and boots for younger kids. So we're trying to focus on the tweens and teens.
Nice. Laura, you want to tell us a little bit about some of kind of an overview of Greater Falls Connections and things you've been doing? You've been doing some strategic planning and looking to the future of sustainability for Greater Falls Connections. So, do you want to speak to that a
Yeah,
little bit?
yeah, sure. Yeah, I can do that for sure. As I said, we've been kind of going full steam with our regularly scheduled programming, and we do feel very fortunate about that and the support from the community and what we've been able to do with the community. So we entered a strategic planning process in February, and then COVID hit. And so the process for strategic planning is to get ideas from the community about what we want to do and how we want to change our community and how we can do that. Is the essence of a strategic plan. So we were able to do our online survey, thanks to those of you who filled it out. We got great feedback from that. We interviewed many community members and community partners. And so we're looking at our main goals for the strategic plan to increase our visibility and recognition. We realize that despite a lot of the work that we do in the community, we aren't universally known or well known in the community. So we're gonna ramp that up in the next year. We're also looking to expand the issues and topics that we can facilitate in the community. And that means moving in the direction of perhaps mental health and suicide prevention. We also want to dive deep into working with the community around opioid prevention, prescription drug misuse, heroin misuse, and reducing overdoses and overdose deaths. And we're still prioritizing those issues, but the mental health pieces and the opioid issues are the things that are rising to the top in particular. And we're also thinking about our board, our advisory board, which you are a member of, Marty. Thinking about how we can bring more youth leadership onto our advisory board and really have youth be driving our agenda and the work that we're doing in the community. So it's a really interesting and exciting time, and the world is sort of in an interesting time as well. So it's interesting to be in this process while so much else is happening in our community, and hopefully we can still continue to be here to support really what's happening in our community.
Well, I think it bodes, if community isn't familiar with what you do, you guys literally do connections. You connect the dots, and nothing rings more true than how you stepped up to the plate with the other community members and immediately got Rockingham Help and Helpers going and organized and fulfilling the need in the community to the most vulnerable people in the community. So I think, just a general shout out to the public. If you're interested at all, reach out to Laura or Deb and learn a little bit more about everything that Greater Falls Connections does. And also, you've been dealing a lot with equity and working and with board equity, and that's kind of like the buzzword now. So kudos to you for that and for working on developing youth on the board, because they're your primary target. So why not let them have a voice on your board?
Yeah, I want to say more about equity. We are really focusing in on that equity around racial equity, LGBTQ identities, as well as class and poverty, because there's we're a very white rural state, and that difference between sort of folks who have lived in generational poverty. That are really very much impacted by substance abuse and their social economic status can honestly leave folks out of being able to access resources. So that is a primary goal of ours, to become more aware, more self-aware as an organization, and to be more effective at not just including but really creating pathways to leadership and involvement with the work that we do of folks who have been, on the margins.
And you also
and Deb's been a great partner in this, and I think she can say more about the work with our families and with our youth as well.
And I think it's important now because I want to make sure that we get to one of our main topics today is talking about some events you have coming up. And Deb, I think you're going to talk about how you as Greater Falls Connections give back a little bit to some of the heroes that help you all out with your ACE Award nomination. So do you want to talk about that topic?
Sure. Yes, we have released our nomination, started our nomination process for the annual ACE Award. And I think this is our 8th year that we've been doing the ACE Award, and it's kind of grown. We now have 4 categories. We have Diamonds, which is a youth award, Clubs, which is for organizations, groups, or clubs, of course, Spades for local businesses, because we know our local businesses, how much they support the community, and also Hearts, and a Heart Award be given to an individual. So we've got 4 categories this year, and this is an opportunity to really recognize how much individuals, organizations, youth, businesses, how this community comes together, and so many folks go above and beyond. This really is such a great community. I'm so happy that we get to be here and serve you all and be a part of this. And yeah, so we already have nominations rolling in.
Nice. How do people nominate?
You can check out our Facebook page if you want to nominate someone. There's a Google form that we made up for that, and we sent out a MailChimp, and we'll be announcing the winners at our Gathering of Gratitude, which will be taking place Saturday, November 21st, up at the Rec. We're going to have marshmallow roast and some nice social distancing fires, and those little iron, I don't know what they call those, but anyhow, it should be a lot of fun, and we would love to have some more nominations. The deadline is Tuesday, November 17th.
Great. So Laura, you want to speak a little bit? Do you have any more to add to the Gathering of Gratitude?
I think that Deb has it covered. Yeah, we're really happy that we're able to do this. I think, we really strongly believe in this community and love this community, and so we're grateful that we can have an opportunity to recognize folks who've done so much, especially during this time. I have one more shout out to make, Marty, if we have a minute.
You do. We have a little bit of time. Yep.
I do. Well, I hadn't thought this through so much, but I wanted to make sure to recognize Deb, that she's been working for Greater Falls Connections for 10 years.
Wow.
And
11
years. Wow. So I think she deserves a lot of credit for the work that she's been doing with families in our community, and really gotten us Greater Falls Connections, and on behalf of the community, done so much to ensure that the voices of youth and families are primary in our work. So I wanted to make sure to thank Deb. I know that's a bit of a surprise, and I just want to say how much I appreciate your perspective and all of your commitment to this community.
So we're down to about 3 minutes. So let's give a general who you guys are, how can people get in touch with you, what are your events coming up, and how can they support you? So, go.
Deb, you want to take this?
Yeah, I've had way too much coffee this morning, by the way. I so apologize. Okay, so we've got, please nominate our local heroes for the ACE Award. The deadline is Tuesday, November 17th, and we will be awarding the ACE Awards on Saturday, November 21st up at the rec center. And we'll also be giving out some warm and fuzzies as well. And that'll, I think that's going to be 2 to 4. And the FAR group meets every Tuesday at 6 p.m. We'll be posting the Zoom chat that day. And also Friends for Change, we are still meeting 4 days a week now virtually. If you want to find out anything else about Friends for Change, please just shoot us an email, give us a call.
Great, wonderful.
Check.
Anything you want to add, Laura?
You can reach us. We do go to the office. The best way to reach us is at 463-9927. And you can ask for Laura or Deb. Leave a message. We do check our voice messages. So 463-9927. Go to greaterfallsconnections.org, and you can get the most up-to-date information about what we do on our Facebook page, Greater Falls Connections.
And you also have the option, I believe, on your Facebook page and your website to donate if people would like to donate. So I think that's important.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
join us.
Thank you.
Join the movement.
Join the movement.
Join our work.
Thank you both for coming on today, for taking the time to share everything with us. And so community, make sure that if you're interested in anything that Greater Falls Connections does, that you connect with them. If you're looking to do a nice project for this winter, then maybe you want to connect with Deb's project and donate to the fund for kids to go shopping for warm winter clothes. So thank you guys for coming on. That's it for today's feed. Mike will be back in studio next week, and I will actually not be in studio next week, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what he comes up with. Maybe you guys can come again and help him out. Bye, community.